I received my new sealing ring and overpressure plug in the mail. So I'm gonna switch those out right now, and then I'm gonna can some chickpeas. So this is my current ring. When I can, I get, right before the locking mechanism is set to pop up, I get water dripping out down my canner and onto my element. Now the water stops dripping once the locking mechanism is up. I go up to pressure perfectly, no problem, but I presumed all along that it was probably an issue with my seal. So I ordered a new one. There were a bit of complications with this order. However, it's all resolved, and there we go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take out my old seal. I'm going to take out my old overpressure plug just by pinching it and popping it through like that. Now the Presto canner can be used as a water bath canner as well. If you remove the overpressure plug, you don't put the gauge in, of course, and you remove the seal, but you know, I've never used it because I don't want to continuously bugger with this. You know, taking out the seal is one thing, but this, you know, I don't think so. Once it's in, I leave it in. So let's put in the new overpressure plug. Just inserting it. There we go. That was really simple. No problem. And you know, when you compare it, here, we'll pop it back in. I just popped it out. It is softer than the old one. I mean, the old one I was using no problem. It is hardened just a little bit. So this is in now. Let's get our seal in. There we go. Great. Get it in all the way around. That looks good. What I am going to do, I am going to put some oil on top of the seal, all around it, and then I'm going to get to using it with canning chickpeas, and let's see if the water drips down the pot. So I'll bring you back. I'm now going to test the seal by closing the pot. There's nothing in the pot yet, but I just want to see how tight or loose it is. So my arrows are lined up. This is very tight, very, very tight, okay? So I doubt there's going to be water dripping out from here when I can my chickpeas. So I'm going to get started preparing my chickpeas for canning. So I'm going to start by washing my chickpeas. I'm using pint jars today, so that will mean half a cup of chickpeas. So as I wash my chickpeas, I'm going to look for bad ones, okay, and pick them out. So I'll bring you back when I'm filling the jars. The directions for dry beans and pint-sized jars are half a cup. So I'm going to put a half a cup into each jar. And in each jar I'm going to put, I put a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, canning salt that is. Some people don't put any salt, some people put more salt. You know, it's whatever you wish. If you don't put salt, it's fine as well. So I'm going to bring you back when I start filling water into the jars. Okay, so I've poured boiling water over my lids. I'm not boiling them, they're just immersed in boiling water. And this water is partially heated up. Now, I haven't found a difference in the finished product, in the texture, whether I use cold water, warm water, or boiling water. So this is just basically warm water. It's gently warmed up, that's all. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start filling my jars. There we go. Great, that looks like a sufficient amount of headspace. I'm just going to get my vinegar. I left it at the other side of the kitchen, and my cloth to wipe rims. Okay, so we are going to take the debubbler and I'm going to give that a stir. Okay, that looks about right. Let's wipe our rim. Place our lid and ring on the jar, and I'm going to pop it in the canning pot. Okay. There we go. Super. That could do with a little bit more water. Excellent. Let's get our debubbler. Wipe the rim. Close it off. Okay, I'll bring you back when I have the pot loaded. All right, so I have fit 16 jars in my Presto pressure canner because I started out by using the wide mouth jars. Now, just on an aside, I ordered a second rack. My Presto, of course, the Presto 23 quart pressure canner does only come with one rack. So on YouTube, I saw people using a second rack. So I went ahead and ordered a second rack. I actually don't find it helpful at all because when you are pressure canning regular mouth jars, you can fit 20 in this canner. When using the rack, I find it's hard to maneuver the 20. So anyway, obviously I'm not pressure canning 20 today because I opted to use wide mouth. So there you go. That's just a bit of an aside. So I am going to go ahead and put the lid on now. When you are going to can, you want to check your vents, your overpressure plug, which is new. I just checked it because I just replaced it, and the locking mechanism. Everything is working well. So I am going to line up my arrows and place this on. It is a nice tight seal because it's a new ring. Anyway, we'll see if there's any dripping coming down the side. I don't think there will be. So I'm gonna turn this pot up and remove this because it's creating steam. Okay, so I'm gonna turn this pot up to high and I will bring you back when this is venting, okay? And I'll probably bring you back to show you whether it is dripping or it's not. So fingers crossed it's not. I have a feeling it won't. I have no water dripping from my pot, so I'm really pleased with this. And you know, I would like to say a special thank you to Mandy at More to Life. She was very helpful and made a number of suggestions when I reached out to her with regards to my little issue here of the leaking pot. So just thank you, Mandy. I really appreciate your support. Okay, so my pressure canner is now venting, and I'm going to time this for 10 minutes. When the 10 minutes is up, I'll bring you back. My pressure canner has been venting for 10 minutes. I'm now going to cap it with my weight. So I will bring you back when the pressure gauge reads 11 pounds pressure. I've just turned down my pot and put my timer on for 75 minutes. So that gauge should just go back down to 11 in a moment. If I were canning quarts, it would be for 90 minutes. but for pints, it is 75 minutes. So I'll bring you back in 75 minutes, and at that point, I'll turn the pot off and let my pressure go down naturally. The 75 minutes are up, so I'm now going to turn off my element and bring the pressure down naturally. I'll bring you back when I'm taking the jars out. The pressure has come down naturally, and now it's at 0. I'm going to take the weight off. Right. And we're going to open up the pot and take out the chickpeas. So I'm turning it, I'm holding it away from me, like so. All right, so let's take the jars out. There. I don't know if I mentioned, but I put 2 regular mouth jars in my pot as well. I'll bring you back when all the jars are out. These are fresh out of the pot. In all, I got 16 jars. So give this a try. This dry bean method of canning is something you should research, okay? Because the Ball and Bernardin books say you should soak the beans. I have not soaked my beans. I find this to be the most efficient way of canning beans, and the texture in the end is excellent. So give it a try, but do your research.